Okay, so today I'm going to do a quick tutorial to show you how to do low poly art. So I've got an example one here which I'm going to basically do again. So what you need to do is start off with a new document. So I'm going to set mine up as a custom and I'm going to do it as 1080 by 920 I think. Okay, and 72 pixels per inch, so I'm going to just set that up. Okay, and what I'm going to do is bring out some rulers to kind of measure half of the screen. So if your rulers aren't showing, a quick shortcut for that is to press Command R. I've just got rid of mine now, but if I press Command R again, they come back. So I'm going to find about half of the page. I think it's about there and about there. Okay, and then I'm gonna bring in my picture. So I've got this lovely red panda here. When you're starting out doing this, it's quite good to, if you're going to use an image of an animal, to have it face on, but you don't necessarily have to. So I'm just going to drag and drop that in, and he's come up quite big, so I'm going to need to resize him. So obviously make sure you've got a nice high resolution image because you want to be able to see the definition quite nicely when you're zooming in. So Command T is obviously transform. Hold down the shift button. So you want to have your picture kind of central for the face. So this face of this red panda isn't quite fully central, so I'm just going to find the centre of his face where I want the centre of his face to be, and I'm going to work from the left side of his face because it's a bit lighter and you can see a little bit more definition in it. So what I'm then going to do is get a new layer. To apply the transformation. So I'm pressing the wrong buttons. So I've just added a new layer, and with that new layer I'm then going to get the polygon tool up here, and I'm just going to roughly go around his face. Now it doesn't have to be perfect, and you want it to be a little bit jaggedy to help with that effect, but not like too crazy jaggedy. So I'm just going to go around his face here. Think about what bits I want to include. Am I coming a bit more? Yeah. Go into about here. Okay, and we're going to literally like stop that there and go all the way back up. So now you need to fill that. You can fill it with whatever colour you want. I'm just going to fill it with white because it's nice and easy. And then I'm going to move this layer underneath. It's going to do it. And then I'm going to link those layers together. Okay, so we'll create a clip and path between the two layers. So create clip and mask. So you've done that, so now I've got my panda face. If I just deselect and get rid of those wiggly lines. Okay, so now I've got my red panda face. What I'm going to do is go back to that polygon tool. Okay, well, I'm going to make sure that it's rasterized first actually. So mine's fine, but you might need to rasterize your layer to make sure you can edit on it. Okay, so then we go back to that polygon tool, and I'm going to create lots of little triangles. So you can zoom on your image by pressing Command plus. Okay, and I'm going to start by making some triangle here. Now what I can do is to go to filter, go to blur, and go to average. Okay, and what that does is it selects all of the coloured pixels in there and it averages them out to fill the colour. Okay, so that's what you need to do every time you make your triangle, but obviously that'd be a really long process. So a quicker way to do that is to make your triangle. Now you've done that first one. Okay, press Command F and then Command D. Okay, so Command F redoes the last kind of thing that you did, and Command D is obviously deselect tool. Okay, so I'm going to just undo that one because I haven't done it as close as I could have done. So one of the things that you want to make sure you're trying to do here is slightly overlapping your triangles so that you don't leave any gaps. Now I'm doing this fairly quickly, just for the purposes of this tutorial, and I don't want it to last forever. But yeah, you don't want to kind of be left with little gaps, which I've done yet again, but I'm just going to move on from it now. So I'm going to continue filling out the rest of this red panda's face. Okay. One thing you want to keep an eye out for is you kind of want to make smaller triangles where there's a concentration of colour. So for instance, as you can see here, we've got kind of the merge between, you've got the white and then you've got the kind of orangey red here. So there'd be no point in me making a triangle that goes across the white and the red, because when it goes together it cancels out all those colours. So just going to undo those. No, you're not going to want to be nice to me now, are you? So what you really want to be doing is making smaller triangles within those sections to keep the colour. Okay. But I'm going to whiz ahead now and just fill this in. Okay, there we go. So this would be your finished red panda. Okay, so you've got all of your triangle shapes here. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is merge those two layers together. Okay, so if you just select both those layers, Command, and then if you go merge layers, they've been clipped together. Okay, so then what you're going to do is you're going to convert it into a smart object. Okay, and then duplicate that layer. So you might want to rasterize it first, and then convert to smart object again, pressing the wrong one, and then duplicate that layer. Okay, so I haven't named them, but they're duplicated. Okay, and then what you're going to do is flip that duplicated layer. So if you go to Edit, Transform, okay, and we can flip horizontal. There you can see my other red panda's face. Okay, so if you use your ruler guides to put them together, and then we can get rid of that ruler now. Okay, so you can see that we've got both our red panda faces together now, so make a whole one, which makes it much quicker. But as you can see, it looks quite flat, and you can, you really kind of tell that it's just a mirrored image. So to make that a little bit better, what we can do with the one side of our face is, if we make sure that that layer is rasterized, we can press Command U, which brings up the hue and saturation. Okay, and what I'm going to do is just, adjust the lightness and darkness. So as you can see, as I'm slightly editing that, is that it takes away, it adds a bit more makes it a bit more 3D down the middle and defines some of the polygon shapes a bit more. So I'm going to leave it a little bit darker. Okay, and then if you merge these two layers together, okay, so I'm going to merge layers, then you could add a photo filter. If I show you, that's in image adjustments, and you can go to photo filter. Okay, and you can have an orange one, which just brings out a bit more of the colour. Okay, and if you select the colour, you could change it to maybe a darker one. If I actually press colour. So obviously you can play around with the colours to give it kind of different feel. I'm probably going to go with like a darky orange colour maybe. There we go. Okay, and there is your finished low poly art. Obviously you could improve upon this if you want to do this. It's just a simple tutorial. So the more triangles you create, the more definition. Okay, so you can play around with things like that. You can add different kind of elements to it. You can continue playing around with the filters. But yeah, that's it basically.